This video is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. If you were hoping that Diablo Immortal would suck, I've got some very bad news for you. It definitely doesn't suck, at least not yet. Let's deal with the most important piece of information first. I am currently playing the game as part of the technical alpha, and the microtransactions have not yet been enabled. There's all sorts of menus that show you what you could one day buy, but there's no way to buy any of the premium currency, and there's no prices listed. Now, I'm going to say a lot of nice things about Diablo Immortal here because I've played maybe 15 hours of this now, and I think it's good, but it's important to remember that companies don't make mobile games to do the fans a solid. They do it to rake in obscene amounts of cash by filling their in-game stores with all sorts of gameplay-enhancing boosters and items that definitely fall within the pay-to-win category. Stuff that they couldn't get away with if they were making a premium game intended for the core gaming community. Free-to-play is everywhere now. It's on our consoles and our PCs, but pay-to-win is the line in the sand that separates mobile games from non-mobile games. So while Diablo Immortal is a good game, I have no problem telling you that, it's important to remember that we cannot really judge this game until the store is live and the economy balancing is clear and we can see just how much Diablo Immortal will be asking us to pay for it. With all of that said, Diablo Immortal is very fun and I like it very much. What? Blizzard's making a mobile game? Yes. In fact, they've said that they plan to take all of their major franchises to mobile, and they have multiple projects underway. Diablo Immortal is the first cab off the rank, and its announcement didn't go particularly well. Blizzard had been hyping an important Diablo announcement for BlizzCon, and fans were very much expecting Diablo 4 since it's been a hell of a long time since Diablo 3. I mean, that was like 2012, so that's a long time between drinks, even for Blizzard. So when fans were told that they were getting a mobile game, they were not happy.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
This thing sucks. Diablo Immortal is a garbage reskin.
We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC. Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
Blizzard really failed to read the room on that one and have been far more successful in that respect since, simply shutting up and getting on with the process of making the game. It's playable now in Australia if you're lucky enough to get invited to the technical test. You might ask, why Australia? We actually get quite a few apps and services early since we're kind of a test market for the US, and also because everything here is trying to kill us, so even if we don't like a product, we'll probably get bitten by a spider before we have the chance to tell anyone anyway. So I've been playing Diablo Immortal on my Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Even though it's an Australian-based test, we've been connecting to US servers, which means my ping has never been lower than about 200 ms. I put about 15 hours into it across 4 characters, and yeah, generally only positive things to say. Let's talk about performance first. Now, if you're watching this on a TV or a PC monitor, then this probably looks not great. Kind of blurry, I guess. But remember, this is meant to be played on a phone where the resolution is fine. Character models, weapons, armor, enemy designs, projectiles, ground effects, environmental effects, they're all really clear. I'd worried that with such small screen size, Immortal would feel either too crowded or too spaced out. The balance is just right, with the screen regularly being completely filled with enemies without the game ever losing the visual clarity that holds it all together. Diablo Immortal will certainly push your hardware though. As I said, I'm on a Note 10 Plus, which is no slouch, and I was getting regular frame drops and stutters. If you've played mobile games before, you'd know that some of this has to do with how hot your phone gets. When I first boot up Immortal, it runs beautifully no matter what's going on screen. But after about 20 minutes, my phone is warm and the hardware begins to cap performance to keep it cool. That's when Diablo Immortal really starts to chug, and yeah, it definitely becomes a problem. It did reduce my enjoyment of the game when this happens, and I think Blizzard will need to do something about this, because if my phone struggles with it, then I can't imagine how older phones will fare. It's worth noting that there is a high FPS mode buried in the menus, but that's unavailable on my device. I'm not sure if it's available at all during the alpha. I tried to run this on a Galaxy tablet, and it said the game wasn't compatible yet, which, to be fair, is standard for most mobile games in alpha phase. The other question you're going to have is about controller support, and the bad news is that there's nothing official. There are plenty of apps you can get which allow you to map the buttons, but there's a big drawback when doing that because of how ability casting works. Some abilities you just hit the button and it executes them, but many are directional, so you actually have to touch the button to ready it and then move your thumb to position the direction of it. When you map to a controller, you can reposition, but you lose the ability to move your character at the same time, which is not a deal breaker, but it is a thing. Now, I'm someone who hates touch controls. Kids these days, they're all like, what? You need to use a controller? That's like a baby's toy. But grown-ass alpha dogs like myself don't like touch controls. I have to say, I don't like the controls here, but I don't dislike them either, which is kind of already a huge achievement on Diablo Immortal's part. When I first began playing it, I was like, no, this is awful, hate this. But after a while, I sort of forgot I was using touch controls. They just worked well. In particular, the ability casting is great because you get this really fluid connection with your abilities. It kind of feels like you're throwing the fireball when you swipe to send it. I know that sounds dumb to say, but it's kind of true. That part I really liked. The flip side is that there's a lot of fat fingering going on, and the directional stuff can be finicky and imprecise, and some of the buttons are so small that I end up trying to close the game instead of opening my menu. So like I said, I don't love the controls, but I don't hate them. I don't feel like they were a barrier to my enjoyment, which is good because there's a lot to enjoy here. By now you will have seen a bunch of gameplay and you're like, dude, this is just Diablo 3 on mobile. And I'm like, yes, you're right. But what if I told you it's kind of like Diablo 3.5? Diablo Immortal has so many new features in it that if you brought those features into a Diablo 3 expansion, people would be like, hey, good job, good expansion, lots of new ideas here. Well done. But let's talk about the familiar first. I think the biggest achievement of Diablo Immortal is that it manages to squeeze an authentic Diablo experience into your phone. This does not feel like a Diablo offshoot where they took the source material and then riffed on it to create something different. This just feels like actual Diablo. I mean, it looks like Diablo since a lot of the art assets and enemies and weapons and a lot of the game is reused from Diablo 3. The first town you enter is Wortham. You are meeting with Cain. You are visiting Zoltan Kuhl's library. Class-wise, there are 4 classes at the moment: Demon Hunter, Monk, Wizard, and Barbarian, but Necromancer and Crusader are on the way later. Each of them feel like faithful recreations of their Diablo 3 counterparts, with a stripped-down selection of skills to draw from, but certainly enough to give you the freedom to play your way and create unique builds. If you've never played Diablo 3 before, this is going to be pretty fucking cool, because you're going to experience, for the first time, the most essential aspects of a game that has been honed and polished over the last 8 years. And if you have played Diablo 3 before and you enjoyed it, I think you're going to appreciate the fact that you can now basically carry it around in your pocket. And no, the Switch does not fit in your pocket, but to be fair, the Switch port of Diablo 3 was actually excellent. Anyway, it's the new shit in Diablo Immortal that really impressed me. This is an online-only game, by the way, and as you roam the world, you'll be dynamically match-made with other players. So you're just out there killing demons when all of a sudden another player just walks past you and they're like, sup? And then you start slaying demons together for a while until one of you gets bored and wanders off. It's like Journey, except with killing demons instead of, crying. This sounds like a small change, but in reality, it really changes how Diablo feels. Diablo has always been this very instanced, separate, isolated experience unless you choose to invite people in. Now, Sanctuary feels like a world populated by adventurers, of which you are just one. The world feels more dynamic, alive, and unpredictable, with the constant and unexpected presence of other players wherever you go. One of the best new additions is matchmaking for randomly generated dungeons. You know how you used to find those basements or caves or nests or whatever when playing Diablo 3, and they were procedurally generated and they just appeared unexpectedly when you were out and about? Well, they're back in Diablo Immortal, and now when you find them, you get pushed onto a queue screen where you can either matchmake with random players or you can choose to go it alone. The matchmaking doesn't work yet, but it hopefully will by the time the game launches. Avengers. There's also dungeons as part of the main campaign, and each of them can be match-made as well. The dungeons are really cool. They're full of scripted encounters, and they all culminate in a really nice final boss. I mean, you have to kill the Skeleton King again, but he looks great, and he has more mechanics here in the mobile version than he ever did in Diablo 3. Diablo's progression systems have also been overhauled here in Immortal. There's a greatly simplified stat sheet in play which fits for the more immediate requirements of a mobile game. Still, the legendaries provide plenty plenty of interesting bonus effects to your abilities, and in my 15 hours of playing it, I was already engaging the gear system way more than I did with my recent 60 hours with Destiny or my 50 hours with the Avengers. Diablo Immortal's gear game is streamlined without making it feel as though your choices don't matter. There's also slot-based upgrades, which means that instead of upgrading a specific item to only then throw it away, I upgrade my leg slot, I upgrade my ring slot, etc., such that whenever I equip a new item, they inherit all of the upgrade values I had previously invested. This is good because it feels like my character is becoming more powerful rather than just my specific items, and it reduces the pain associated with tossing away an item that you might have heavily invested in. Diablo Immortal has a guild system. It's right there, it has a guild finder, and it has guild achievements, and it has guild chat. It also has region chat. It's all there right now, it all works. So many games are just too scared to put any kind of chat thing in these days. This game just does that, so that's nice. There's also the promise of PvP, since that's an option in the menu. It's not turned on yet, and if Diablo 3 is anything to go by, it won't be turned on for some time, but at least we know that it may be coming one day, maybe. So let's return to the money stuff, since there are things we can glean from the menus. Firstly, there is an in-game auction house. Now, it's not enabled yet, but it does allow you to trade certain goods like gems and some currencies, not weapons and armor. I don't know how this auction house will work in the final game or which currencies will power it, but there you go. The auction house is back, sort of. Next up are the battle passes, and I say passes plural because every character has their own battle pass, and it has a free track and a paid track, which means that, like the Avengers, you'll most likely be paying for a battle pass for each character, but unlike the Avengers, this game is free, so we'll see how that lands when the prices come in. The cash shop also allows you to buy legendary crests, reforged stones, and platinum. Now, legendary crests are used to modify your rift runs and guarantee you a legendary gem drop as well as some runes, and runes are used to craft legendary gems. Reforged stones are, I don't know what these are yet, but from the name of the feature, I'm guessing they let you change the properties on your gear. Platinum is a currency that is also used to craft legendary gems. Now, from what I can tell, Diablo Immortal's plan is to offer a more streamlined stat sheet and gear game, but augment that with really powerful gems and modifiers that are only available from reforging your gear. There is no way to buy a better crossbow in Diablo Immortal, or a chance for a better crossbow, but there is a way to buy the materials you need to craft the gem and modifiers that make your crossbow really powerful. It looks like everything is obtainable for free if you grind enough, but obviously they'll tune the grind so they'll make you want to spend money. I'll tell you this much, I've played this game for like 15 hours now across 4 characters. Most of that has been on my Demon Hunter, who is nearly max level. At no point in my 15 hours did I ever feel like I needed to spend money to enjoy the game. The game has no energy timer that stops me from playing it. The game wasn't shoving heaps of pop-up ads in my face. The game didn't feel remotely stingy with loot. It just felt like I was playing Diablo. Now, I think that it's about 10 hours to get each character to max level and see all the content before you hit the end game. There's going to be 6 characters to level, and I'm going to guess that at least 4 of them are free. Maybe we need to pay for the other 2, I don't know. If you choose to only go through the campaign with 4 characters, you can get 40 fun hours out of Diablo Immortal without spending a dime. And I know that because I'm on my way to doing just that. What happens after that when you hit endgame and you want to tackle really high level challenge runs and rifts, and you want to finesse a really strong build, and you want to be competitive in PvP, etc. All of that is a big unknown, because I'm certain that it will be driven by gems and reforges that are all tied to the cash shop, and the prices could be horrendous. They probably will be horrendous. But if you want to just have some fun Diablo times when you're waiting for a bus or you're on your lunch break, this will do the trick. I think it's very good, and if Activision Blizzard can somehow find a way to not ruin this with grotesque microtransactions, Diablo Immortal could be the start of something big for the games industry. Just as Genshin Impact moved the dial for what core gamers would expect from mobile gaming, this could do that too. I'm not hopeful, but it's nice to dream. Either way, Diablo Immortal will be out really soon because this shit is really polished at this point, and it's well and truly feature complete. I guess we'll all find out soon enough just how much Diablo Immortal really costs and whether or not it's a game we can justify sticking with for the longer term. Do you ever get those notifications on your phone that are like, hey, someone's trying to reset your password? Well, I do, and it's probably because I haven't been careful enough with my online data. In 2020, it's kind of like we can't really be lazy with our data anymore. Our online presence is a huge part of our lives. You wouldn't leave your house unlocked, you wouldn't leave your car unlocked. That's why you shouldn't leave your internet unlocked either. Surfshark VPN's technology encrypts your data, protecting you from identity thefts and hacks. But if the security angle doesn't hook you, it also lets you access geo-blocked content, something that's particularly useful for me here in Australia, since we're kind of locked out of absolutely everything and our Netflix blows and all. So I basically just use Surfshark to bypass all that geo-block garbage, and I can log into US Netflix instead. You can use Surfshark on multiple devices at once, which is something that almost no other VPN allows. It's available on pretty much every platform you can think of. It has 24/7 customer support, and it has a full 30-day money-back guarantee.
Nice. 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 Nice.
Best of all, they're offering an 84% discount and 4 months free when you use offer code SKILLUP at checkout. Click the link in the description below or visit surfshark.deals/skillup. Thanks Surfshark for sponsoring the video, and thank you for watching it. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down so I know to do better for next time. If you enjoyed yourself, consider subscribing, and if you really enjoyed yourself, maybe consider hitting that notification bell so you never miss a video. You can see my patrons here on the left. They're awesome. They're amazing. If you want to join them, check out my Patreon page. Thank you again. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.